I will never forget how amazed I was in Jerusalem one day. I stood in the Israel Museum in front of a gigantic ancient wall carving, 2,600 years old, of the Assyrian army attacking a fortified city, a walled city. And I couldn't believe my eyes because it looks like they're driving a tank. Do you see that? That's a battering ram that they're pushing against the walls to break them down. Do you see how the bricks are falling down? That is the way wars were fought in the days of strongholds, keeps, fortified cities. And that's the imagery in this famous verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, starting in verse 3. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. Paul's making it very clear he is talking about weapons and warfare, but he's not talking about hunting down and killing people. Jesus specifically told us not to do that. And that's why Paul says, listen, just to be clear, we don't fight with weapons of this world. On the contrary, he says, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. We take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Now, I know in his historical context, Paul's talking about false teachers in the Corinthian church, but guess what? I've often got a false teacher in my own head. Paul is saying we all have fortified cities, walled strongholds in our minds, built up brick by brick over the years. And the soldiers inside those walls fighting against us are untruths, lies. Like for me, the separation anxiety associated with my dad and then my stepdad dying has built up over the years into a stronghold. And there's soldiers in there yelling at me things like, you can never be secure and stable. You're a fatherless weakling. This kind of thing, right? That's a stronghold in my mind. So here's a weapon I use, a verse I love to speak into my life. See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. By using that weapon, by speaking that truth into my life, that's like a battering ram. I'm tearing down strongholds in my life and taking every thought captive. For you, it's probably some other stronghold. Maybe thoughts like, I am unlovable, I am not capable. And what Paul is saying in that verse is, don't be passive and let those lies poison your thinking. You and I need to attack that stronghold with the truth of God's word, whether it's false teaching in a church or false teaching in your own head. Don't believe everything you think. Think critically. See, you can change how you think. And when you change how you think, you change what you believe is possible. And when you change what you believe is possible, you change what you attempt. And when you change what you attempt, you change your life and you change other people's lives. We're going to be talking more about that this weekend as we continue our series, How Joyful People Think. Saturday, 6 p.m., Sunday, 9 and 11. And remember, after each service this weekend, our baptism class, do you want to follow Jesus and proclaim that publicly? I'm excited for you. Join me. And then the next weekend for the baptisms. This weekend baptism class, next weekend baptisms. Hope to see you here. God's doing great things at Twin Lakes Church.